तस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया कृष्णम् ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे व्याप्तिर्यस्य निजय निजयेन मनसा पक्षे सपक्षे स्थिति व्यावृत्तिश्च विपक्षतोत्तविषये शक्तिर्न वै बाधिते नैवास्ति प्रतिपक्षयुक्तिरतुलं शुद्धं प्रमाणं सेवे भूयात् ततो विनिर्णय भगवान् आनन्दतीर्थो मुनु श्रीमदानन्दतीर्थार्यः सन्मनस्सरसि भुवि अनुव्याख्यान नलिने चञ्चरीकति मे मनः सनातनं रूपम् इहोपदर्शयन् आनन्दसिन्धुः परितप्रवृद्धयन् अन्तस्तमस्तोमहरस्सराजतां चैतन्यरूपो विधुरद्भुतोदयः। Hare Krishna, welcome you all to the next session of Vedānta Syamantaka. So, what we have discussed till now is about Jiva, living entity, and it is mentioned to be different from Ishvara. It is also described that among Jivas also there are varieties, there are different types of living entities. And the conditioned souls are covered by a level of avidya that decides the conditioning of the living entity. It is not free to decide. And individual souls always worship Lord Hari. They are always servants of Lord Hari. Either they are in this world or they are liberated. Their service to Lord Hari will continue. So these are the things that we discussed. So we will go ahead now. So we are discussing the third ray, and here I will read this. Someone may argue, what is this new idea you are propounding, that the individual soul is different from God? About the empirical state of existence, we find the following words: Tvam va aham asmi bhagavo devate, aham vai tvam asi bhagavo devate. Varaha Upanishad 2.34. Translation: O revered God, you are I and I am you, O Lord. Tadyoham so sau yosau soham. Aitre Aranyaka 2.2.4. What I am, he is, and what he is, I am. Tat Tvam Asi, Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.16. You are that. The non-duality between God and the individual soul is also in the stage of liberation, is heard from the scriptures. Yatra tvasya sarvam atmaiva bhut tat kena kam pashet. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 2.4.14. When everything becomes spirit for the liberated soul, whom would one see and through what? Since difference is not a reality, one who propounds it is condemned in the Shruti. Yat eveha tad amutra yat amutra tad anveha. Mrityo sa mrityom apnoti ya iha naneva pashyati. Kathopanishad 2.1.10. As is the Jiva, so is God. As it is God, so is the Jiva. One who sees both as if they were different simply attains repeated birth in this world. Yadhevaisya udaram antaram kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7. When one thinks that there is even a small difference within Brahman, then one becomes fearful. Now, We have discussed earlier that which are the types of pramanas which are valid. Which are the valid pramanas that we have discussed earlier?
Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda.
8 pramanas.
Sorry, I could not hear.
8 pramanas.
Yeah, among them, which are valid?
Shabda pramana is most authentic
Any other
pramana.
pramanas?
And also pratyaksha, anumana. These are pramanas, but they have limitations.
Hmm. Means Shabda also has its limitation. The limitation is that the authority should be genuine. So that limitation is there in Shabda. So similarly, Pratyaksha has the limitation that the senses are not perfect. So sometimes they may give wrong knowledge. Anumana has its limitation that the Vyapti can be wrong. Okay. So each of these have limitations. But for Atindriya, for things beyond our senses, for things that cannot be perceived by our senses, Anumana is used. For things that are neither perceived by senses nor by logic, for that Shabda is used. So for different things, different pramanas. That is the idea here. Okay. So now, because to understand Atma, to understand Paramatma is not possible through Pratyaksha and Anumana, it was decided that Shabda has to be used. And in the Shabda itself, Apaurusheya Shabdas are superior. That also we discussed. Which are the Apaurusheya Shabdas?
Shruti, Prabhuji.
Yes, Shruti is Apaurusheya, Smritis are Paurusheya. So that also we have discussed. So now, uh, in Shruti itself, there are so many things which seem to indicate similarity or oneness of Atma and Paramatma. So that is why, and it was well established by Shankaracharya. Actually, Shankaracharya gave the Sharirika Bhashya, and when he gave the Sharirika Bhashya, he established that Jiva and Paramatma are one. So the whole Brahma Sutras are called Sharirika Mimamsa. And because Brahma Sutras are called Sharirika Mimamsa, their commentary which Shankaracharya gave, he called it Sharirika Bhashya, and it became popular that Shankaracharya's comment. Actually, every commentary on Brahma Sutra is Sharirika Bhashya only. Be it Madhacharya's commentary, be it Ramanujacharya's commentary, be it Valdev Vidyabhushan's commentary, every commentary on Brahma Sutras is Sharirika Bhashya only. But because specifically Shankaracharya called it Sharirika Bhashya, that became the label. And so today Sharirika Bhashya is often misunderstood. People think that Shankaracharya is the only Sharirika Bhashya. So Shankaracharya set this platform initially that everything is one. The it's all one. So he gave all these Shruti Pramanas to establish that. So now, in the presence of so many Shrutis, uh, why do we say that there is a difference between Atma and Paramatma? That is the point that is put forward by the author here. There are so many Pramanas which say that it's all one. Why do we still say there is a difference? So that we are going to discuss. Dharmeshwar Prabhu, you have some point to add before we go ahead?
Prabhuji, small doubt.
Hmm.
What is the meaning of word shariraka?
Hmm. Sharirika. Sharirika, I'm not sure about it. I will find out. Generally, Brahma Sutras are referred as Sharirika Vasha, but why it is so, I'll find out, Prabhuji. I'll let you know.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, so now the problem with this idea is that although there are enough number of Shrutis which indicate similarity, there are also enough Shrutis which indicate difference. So, uh, So that also has to be considered. What happens is that whenever we are discussing pramanas, whenever two people come for katha, katha is a discussion, and that discussion can be vada jalpa vitanda, three types of katha. Vada jalpa vitandeti trividham vidusham katha. So there are three types of discussions that can happen. In that, whenever there is a vada, what the purpose of it is tattva nirnaya. To establish the absolute truth, there is a discussion. So such a discussion to establish absolute truth where both the sides are determined sincerely to establish it, then it's called Vada. Now in a Vada, there are rules also to establish. What are the rules to establish in a Vada? That whenever a person speaks, he should speak with Pramanas. And whenever he first quotes the Pramanas, the opposition party, they should also quote the Pramanas to support their argument. So what we should so generally there are some rules for such interpretation. Just a minute, please bear with me. So sorry for the disturbance. Mm, So whenever there is a pramana, there is a need to give an alternative pramana why the other paksha feels otherwise. And at the same time, we should also do a samanvaya of why that pramana is there. So now it's the responsibility of the Uttara Paksha to first see if there are alternative pramanas to support their argument. And then after that, once their argument is established, we should also answer as to why those, because they are Shruti pramanas. You cannot neglect them. You cannot say that because this is there, that gets cancelled. No, those Shruti pramanas also have to be explained. Now, these are some civilized way of discussion. In traditional societies, such civilized discussions would happen, unlike today, where just I am saying this, you are saying this, or my PhD scientist says this year scientist says this, or this Guruji says this, that. Nothing like that. It's all based on concrete shastras. So such discussions would happen in the past. So now they are going to respond to it now. So we will see what the response is. Now, there are also Shrutis that indicate difference. How we'll see that? This argument is not sound, for the difference between God and individual soul in the empiric state of existence is heard from the scriptures. Dvapa Suparna Sayuja Sakayas Samanam Vriksham Parishash Parishash Vajate Tayoho Anya Pipalam Swadhyatya Anasnan Anyo Avichashtati. Shvetashvara Upanishad 4.6. Two birds are sitting together on the same tree as friends. One of them is eating the sweet fruits of sense enjoyment, while the other is just observing without eating. Their difference in the stage of liberation is also heard with the following words. Now, there is difference in conditioned state. That is what is the author is presenting. What the Shankara Bhashya believes is that there is Satta Traividyam. There are three levels of what is that existence. One is eternal existence of Brahman, and one is Paramarthika, Paribhashika, and Vyavaharika. There are three things. One is Vyavaharika, where you see the difference. We deal on the level of difference. We like to eat what we means we eat what we like. We speak to people the way we like. So there is one Vyavaharika level of difference. Similarly, there is Paribhashika. Paribhashika means we understand that okay, there is something we know that there is something beyond which is eternal, but still in the transition we are using difference. Similarly, on paramarthika stage it's all one, there is no difference between the two. So these are the three levels in which they operate, the Mayavadis or the followers of Shankara Bhashya. So here on the Vyavaharika level, difference is clearly seen. Two birds are sitting on the same tree as friends. One of them is eating the sweet fruits of sense enjoyment while the other is just observing. So at least in the material world, you must accept that there is variety. Then, what about the stage of liberation? So that is told here. Their difference in the stage of liberation is also heard in the following words. Yathodakam shuddhe shuddham आसिक्तं तादृक् एव भवति एवं मुनेः विजानत आत्मा भवति गौतम. Kathopanishad 2.1.15. Just as pure water poured into pure water becomes alike to it, similarly the soul of a wise person who realizes Brahman becomes alike to it, O Gautama. So tadrik means tadrishi, just like that. There is sadrisha. Sadrisha means similarity. So here the message is clearly that there is no oneness, it is similarity. In Sanskrita, when we are speaking, tadrishi pustakam anayatu, bring that type of book. Or tadrishi lekhanim anayatu, bring that type of pen, he said. So that sadrisha will be between any two objects, there will be something similar. So, for example, two objects may be tall, or two objects may be short, two objects may be white. Something similar will be there, or there are two people who there are two human beings. So there is some sadrisha. So similarly, between Atma and Paramatma, there is similarity. Here it's mentioned according to this Kathopanishad shloka. Niranjana Paramam Samyam Upaiti, Mundakopanishad 3.2.3. The pure soul thus attains transcendental similarity with the Supreme Lord. He attains Samyam, similarity. He doesn't attain oneness. He comes to the state where it is similar. Difference in the stage of liberation is also stated by Lord Krishna. Idam jnanam apashritya mama mama sadharmyam agataha sargepi nopajayante pralaye na vyatanti tacha. Bhagavad Gita 14.2. Taking shelter in this knowledge, the living entity attains a nature similar to mine, and thus they are neither born at the time of creation nor afflicted at the time of dissolution. Thus, in the Shruti statement, Brahmaiva sa Brahma Peti, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 4.4.6, the only meaning that is easily directed is being similar to Brahman, one attains Brahman. For the words Eva in this sentence is employed in the sense of similarity. Otherwise, entering into Brahman after becoming Brahman would be contradictory. In the text, Ya Eva Tat Amruta, one who propounds difference between the various manifestations of Supreme Lord is condemned. In the text, Yada hi evaishe, duplicity towards Supreme Lord is forbidden. Thus, there is no flaw whatsoever. So, there are also enough Shruti Pramanas to say that there is a difference. We saw that Dvasuparna, there are two birds that are on the tree, and one is eating the fruit and one is just observing. Then, even after liberation, it is mentioned that once two water bodies mix, they become alike to it. The pure water mixed into another pure water which is not so pure, it becomes one, it becomes similar. It is not that it gets merged, it becomes like that. Similarly, the soul of a wise person who realizes Brahman becomes alike to it. That is the point here. Then pure soul attains transcendental similarity to the Lord. So, in all these places, the message is that it is similar, not the same. So, in this context, you have to understand all the points. That is, Brahmaiva san Brahmapyeti. So, the meaning that should be understood from this is once you attain Brahman, you become similar to Brahman, not you become a part of Brahman or you become one with Brahman. That is the point we should understand. Similarly, Tvam va aham asmi bhagavo devate. You are I and I am you. It means that we have a similar agenda. We are all together and we have a similar agenda. Not that we merge. For example, when I say we are all one, in this fight we are all one. Does it mean that we all get merged and only one person fights? No, it means that we are all together and we have a common agenda to fight. Correct. Whenever the foreign country attacks, all the Indians are one. So they say, so all the Indians get together as one. What does it mean? Does it mean that they get merged into one? No, no. The understanding is that they are one united force who is going to fight with the enemy. So similarly, after liberation, Lord and his devotees become one united force to fight together or to act together or to perform pastimes together. It's not that it eventually merges into the Supreme Lord. So that is the understanding of all the Shastras which indicate oneness. Actually, there is not a single Shastra which speaks about oneness. It's all that it has to be understood in this way. Then we will get clarity on that. Okay. So, Dharmeshwar Prabhu, you have something to say?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji,
Hmm.
I have a couple of questions on this Brahman and
Hmm.
individual reality. So, first one is when we talk about Brahman, and whenever we come across this word, the living entity enters into the Brahman. So,
Hmm.
what does it mean? Like, is can we understand? Is it like a Brahma Jyoti or effulgence that is coming or emanating from the Supreme Lord? That is one thing. And
Hmm.
another thing is that whenever, second question, whenever we say Brahman and the living entity, both in one sense, both are same. So there should be some common point or common platform, uh, by which, this statement comes, like both the Brahman and the living entity. So
Hmm.
is that the common platform is Sachidananda, because the Brahman is Sachidananda, and at the same time the living entity is also from the spiritual platform, it is also Sachidananda. So according to the quality of Sachidananda, both the Brahman and the living entity in its pure form, both are same. We understand that both are different in one sense, but whenever we come across these things in the Upanishad and in the Shruti Pramanas, but there should be it should be valid, because the
Hmm.
Shruti cannot say wrong.
Hmm.
And when it says that both Brahman and the living entity are one, that means
Hmm.
there should be something that uh, that should support this statement. So can this be Sachidananda, the quality of Sachidananda? This is the second point, Proji.
Hmm.
And
No.
third one is there. I can maybe I can ask sometime
Yeah,
later
you
on.
see, when there is Satchidananda, when there is this, they are all, what it means here is that they are having similar qualities. So let me read this purport. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particle are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues. Otherwise, there would be no question of Bhakti Marga. Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning for Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant of a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or free from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literatures, Brahmajasan Brahmapeti. One can attain the Supreme Lord by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman by attainment of Brahman. One does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as individual soul. So, what Prabhupada is trying to say with the different examples here is that for bhakti to fully manifest, individual soul should come in contact with the Lord some way or the other. So, however, that doesn't mean that the person has become a part of God or merged with God. He is an individual person only. If he was not an individual person, then Bhakti Yoga would have no meaning, because then in Bhakti Yoga you are doing something to please the Lord. You are making the Lord happy with your service. So that is the Bhakti Yoga. So we are If everyone is a part of Brahma, then whom to do bhakti? What for we have to do bhakti? So that is the understanding we have to derive from this. Yes, Prabhu. Okay, what was the other question that you asked?
Yeah. Is it yeah, Brahman, the definition of Brahman, is it the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, or how can we understand this aspect of Brahman? It is the uh, effulgence, right? Brahma Jyoti, that is what we call.
Yes, Brahmajyoti, what we call is the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Correct.
Is it
So
is it the
within
same thing
the
as Brahman, Prabhuji?
huh?
Is it the same thing as Brahman? Brahman
No,
means the
Brahman is absolute truth. It is a combination of all three. Brahma, Paramatmeti, Bhagwan, iti Shabdate. So in that, some people have realized just the absolute truth part of it. Others have realized Paramatma, and still others have realized Bhagwan. But the idea is that all three aspects together indicate Brahman.
okay.
We cannot
Sometimes
differentiate, saying that one form
okay.
is Brahman and one is not.
So sometimes, like whenever we read, the purports, like Brahman, whenever the word comes Brahman, like it can be understood as the whole, like the Supreme Lord as a whole, and also sometimes it can be understood as, like one aspect of the Supreme Lord, that is Brahman. Another
Yeah,
aspect
when
is Paramatma.
Prabhupada qualifies it saying impersonal Brahman in the purport.
Impersonal.
So that is the impersonal aspect of it, one small aspect of it. Otherwise, here in Vedanta, whenever Brahman comes, it simply means absolute truth.
Okay. And just one follow-up question, Praji.
Hmm.
So, like, how is the understanding of this effulgence, that the Brahma Jyoti, in terms of Vaishnava philosophy and in terms of like uh, Shankaracharya philosophy? Do they accept this uh, effulgence of the Lord, which is Brahman, as the one of the
No,
features
for
of the
them it
Lord?
is Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. So there is only impersonal that is true. Everything else is Mithya.
Okay, so only the Vaishnava philosophy accept this as one of the aspects of the Supreme Lord.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
So here, on one hand, we have Shrutis which say that there is impersonalism, there seems to be impersonalism. On the other hand, there are Shrutis which clearly establishes personalism. So either you have to interpret this or you have to interpret that. Some people interpret saying that all these personal ideas or separation or divisions is for those whose intelligence is not so developed, who cannot understand the intricate details of impersonalism. So for that, but in reality, that is not the case. In reality, it's quite clear that Lord is a person. Just that we should understand that our position with God is like. We are all united in one purpose. It's not that we become merged in him. So this is the way. If we understand this concept, then all these things start becoming easy. That is the point. Is that okay?
Yes.
And the point that is given by Prabhupada in the purport is that if that was not the case, there would be no meaning of Bhakti Yoga. If everyone is pure soul, or if everyone is Parabrahma, if everyone is absolute truth, then what is the point in sadhana bhakti? What is the point in Bhakti Yoga at all? Everyone is eligible, everyone is a part of Brahma only. So there is nobody who is conditioned, nobody who is liberated. So that is the point emphasized here.
Yes, Proji. And just one thing, Proji, just wanted to add.
Hmm.
Recently, I heard that in one lecture that by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one actually, try to understand the Vedas and try to see this world, and by his mercy, one actually does whatever activities he do. So, but when he you know goes certain extent of understanding this Vedas and all, then he thinks that okay, he has already attained the Brahman state of that effulgence and all, and there is nothing, there is no Supreme Lord and things like that. So like I think this is something, like, I would say, like, it is not correct, because if one is already like the state of Brahman, then there is no point of coming here and then, like, struggling in this material world and getting the knowledge and then again realizing it, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
So
yeah, correct. So ultimately, if everything is Brahman, then why there is a difference anyway? So we will discuss that in the next points. Will make these things more clear. These arguments will come up very soon. So that time we'll understand the futility of impersonal philosophy.
okay.
Okay. So as of now, what we can understand is that it's all similar, and there is this sadrisha. That is, they all have a single goal, a single what is that purpose of working. So that way they are one, not that they are physically merged into each other. Okay. Yes, Roshan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हाँ Prabhu.
So as you said that we have to either interpret those statements that give the oneness in the Shruti, or those statements that according to the statements of difference, or the other vice versa.
Hmm.
So one can say that I will interpret like that it is only in the Vyavaharika level that we are in difference, and on the Paramarthik level
So
we are.
for that they have already given Shruti Pramanas, no, that even after liberation we will continue to be like that.
Mm.
Niranjana Parama Samyam Upayiti. Even in Paramaha Niranjana Samyam, there is similarity even in liberation. It is not same, it is similar.
So
Okay.
what if they say there is absolute similarity, means everything, every quality, every
No, you see,
aspect is similar, so
in
they become the same.
you cannot do like that, because in Padartha Jnana, na, so there is Dravya, Guna, Karma, Samanya, there are different Padarthas. In that, there is something called Sadrisha. Sadrisha means similarity. Sadrisha and Samya are two different. You cannot say it is same. So here it's clearly said that it is like that. So bring that type of book. So Tadrik is written here. No? Tadrik comes from Sadrisha. So it is that type, not it is the same. So we cannot interpret it like that. Okay. And
Okay, Prabhuji.
this, though Suparno, at least we cannot interpret at all. How can we interpret that two birds are sitting on a tree and it's all one bird? So this becomes difficult, whereas understanding that becomes more easy.
Okay, okay, Prabhuji.
Now, there is this Jahad ajahallakshana. So I will introduce to that concept now. This being so, the non-duality between God and individual souls, which is acknowledged in the text Tvam va aham asmi, is actually consistent because the latter sustenance and activities are dependent on God, and because they are pervaded by Him. Similarly, in the conversation between the senses found in the Chandogya Upanishad 5.1.15, since the functions of speech and other sense organs are dependent on prana, they are all described as being form of prana. Nacho vai vacho na chakshushmi न श्रोत्राणि न माम न मनाम आचक्षते प्रज्ञा इते एवाचक्षते प्राणो हि evaitani sarvani bhavati. The wise do not refer to the senses, speech, eyes, ears, or mind. They call them prana. Prana actually becomes all the senses. In the Vishnu Purana 1.9.69, it is mentioned that that an object is a form in which it pervades it. O Lord, this host of demigods that have come before you is you yourself, for you are the omnipresent creator of the universe. In the Bhagavad Gita 11.14, it is also said, Sarvam samapnosi tatosi sarva. You pervade everything, hence you are everything. As for the text, Yatra Tvasya Sarvam, it states that the liberated soul's transcendental body, senses, and so on are all manifest affected by the mere will of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, the word sarva would be contradictory. So it is little difficult, this part. So here the all pervasiveness of God is discussed, just like air is all pervading. So like that, the Supreme Lord himself is all pervading. So similarly, its example is given of senses. So senses are all working because of prana, because of the air that flows inside. That makes the senses working. So there is something called prana, which is a part of the air. And our soul is floating in these pranas. It's floating in the region of the heart in the pranas. So any action that happens, prana is responsible for it. That is why Vayu is called Vata, means it makes lot of movement, lot of motions. So mm, all these motions and activities are happening through the senses, and the senses are powered by prana. So sometimes what happens is the senses are also referred to as prana. So because it is prana which actually becomes the senses. So that is the understanding that is derived here. So just like prana pervades all the senses and prana's influence is there in all the senses, similarly, the Lord's influence is there everywhere. It does not mean that one becomes one with the Lord, but then his uh, what is that? His influence is there in all sections. So that is the understanding we have to derive from this. Okay. So then there is something called Jahad ajahallakshana, which has been used by Shankaracharya and his followers. Many of the acharyas have used these things. So what is this Jahad ajahallakshana? We will try to see. There are some who state that by means of exclusive and non-exclusive implication, Jihad ajahallakshana, after rejecting the respective qualities of God and individual soul, such as all pervasiveness and atomic dimension, pure consciousness is the only thing to be recognized. So, Adi Shankaracharya built this philosophy for present day people, and it was also indicated by Vachaspati Mishra. So, for example, there is a person called Devadatta. So, when you meet boy Devadatta, small boy, and he's playing around, he's joking, everything. Now you leave that place, and 20 years later, you go to a different place, and there you meet the same Devadatta. So, what will we say? So am Devadatta. He is that Devadatta. He is that same Devadatta who has met me so many years ago. Correct. So, this is what we say. Now, uh, whom are we talking about in this context? We are talking about Devadatta, correct? Yes.
Yes, we are talking about Devadatta.
So we are talking about Devadatta. In the process of speaking with about Devadatta, am I really concerned about that small boy, or am I really concerned about this big boy? I am concerned about the Devadatta whom I am, what is that, doing Sambodhana, who am I addressing, correct? Similarly, when you say Tattvamasi, so what these people say, when we say Tattvamasi, Tat and Tvam should be separated because we are talking about the same thing. So there is no need to mention the two sentences. Just Asi word is enough. So Tat means he and Tvam means you. So you are he. You are that Supreme Lord. That is the understanding. So now when you and he become removed, just Asi remains. So consciousness alone remains. Nothing else remains. So ultimately, when I and you designations go, ultimately it's only consciousness that remains. So that is the argument given by these acharyas. So it's ultimately the consciousness that remains. So as long as we are in this world, we will say he, myself, my friend, my enemy, all those things. So what they say is that all these Bheda Shrutis, the differences should be indicated in these terms, in the terms of Jahal Ajal Lakshanam. So, means that The first part is not necessary, second part is not necessary. Only we should take the part that is relevant to us. That is the idea. Anything which takes Dvaita interpretation, we can reject it. So just like now, Roshan Prabhu, you had asked the question, no, that different interpretation, can we interpret this way, can we interpret that way? So now here these people are refuting, here these people are presenting an argument that we will interpret it this way. And what is the interpretation this way of this? Okay, now tat tvamasi. So tat we are not concerned about. Tvam we are not concerned about, because both of them is spoken of by about the same person. We are only concerned about asi, means absolute truth, the reality. So in this way, by using Jahad ajahallakshana, we can actually prove that some Shruti statements need not be used. That is the idea that is propagated here. So in this Purva Paksha, are there any doubts? Do you feel that you have not understood it?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, two doubts. Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, please.
Prabhuji, this we spoke about that prana. So is the prana different from the subtle body and gross body? That is one question. And also second question is that this aphorism that tattvamasi. So what is the literal meaning of this? You are that. That means the aphorism is talking about that the reality of the individual soul, or is it referring the individual soul to the absolute truth? These are the two questions, Proji. Could you please
So
explain?
when they say Tattvamasi, they are actually referring to the individual, they are referring the individual soul to the supreme soul. So it's all one. That is the idea that they are presenting. Okay. So, however, here it is individuality. Individuality means he has the qualities of God in the terms of Satchitananda Vigraha. So in Satchitanandatva, there is similarity, but you cannot say they are the same thing. So that is how we should understand.
Yes, thank you, Proji. And can you like explain about the prana, like how it is different from the soul and I mean the symptom of the soul? Is
Yeah,
it
so prana is not on the gross or subtle body. It is present in the heart, in which the soul floats. So soul floats in the environment of prana in the heart. So it is neither gross nor it is subtle. It's beyond all these things. And it makes our body move. It makes rivers move. Everything is moved because of the effect of prana.
it is like sometimes we call it life air. Is it like that? Air,
Yes,
life
yes.
air.
That life air is called prana. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Prabhuji, so Shankaracharya, followers of Shankaracharya says that tattvam are on the vyavaharica level, and when you become that, only asi remains. Tattvam asi, only the consciousness remains. Is it the correct understanding?
Yes, yes. That is the point. Whenever
Okay.
there is Bhadavara Nivritti, that
Hmm.
is when you understand that it is not Tat, it is not Tvam, only Asi remains. Means ultimately it's the conscious thing only.
Okay, okay, understood.
Now, mm, the idea here is that there are some Shruti Pramanas. Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasasaha. Failing to return the supreme words, failing to attain the supreme, the words return back to accompanied mind means I cannot describe the Brahman through my mouth, through my words. I cannot hear about Brahman. I cannot taste it. I cannot touch it. They are not accessible to our senses. They are not accessible to our mind intelligence. They are not accessible to our words. Correct? So Parabrahma is not accessible to any of these things, correct? Now, when it is not accessible to any of these things, how can you describe it? How can you use Lakshana for that? We have initially described Lakshana Vritti. What is Lakshana? Lakshana, Ya Dharma, Pakshe Sarvatra Vartate, Na Vartate Annatra. Tat Lakshanam Bhavati. Means within the object which we are describing, it is there everywhere. And outside the object, it may not be there. So, such a dharma is called, what is that? Lakshana. Such a thing is called Lakshana. Now, Brahman, can we give Lakshana? If we give Brahman Lakshana, then it is not beyond this world. That is the argument they have. So, when I say Tattvamasi, you cannot actually describe Brahman because words fall short. That is why we use Jahad, ajahallakshana. I say that this is not important, that is not important, Tat is not important, Tvam is not important. Only Asi alone is important. So that is the only thing that we are going to discuss about. So that is the explanation that they give for this. Okay. So this is clear. Purva is clear. Okay. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Katsneya Najopi Avidhatum Isha. Even Brahma cannot fully describe the Lord's pastimes. Otherwise, the following sentence of the Shruti and Smriti would be contradictory. Sarve Vada Yat Padam Amnati Kathopanishad. The spiritual nature which all the Vedas describe. Vedaischa Sarver Ahameva Vidya. I am to be known through all the Vedas. In that very sentence of the Taittiriya Upanishad, the word yataha, from which, and aprapya would also be contradictory. So yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasa. Once means from the words and what is it? From my words and from my actions, whatever I cannot reach, that is Brahman. Now, this is a negative way of saying I am still defining Brahman. They are not saying that, okay, Brahman cannot be defined. If I say that I am not able to define Brahman, that is the definition. So that is the point that is told here. So that is one logical way of dealing with it. Another way of dealing with it is that in Shastras themselves say that all the Vedas describe about Padam Amnati. So all Vedas describe about the Supreme Spirit. And Shruti also says, Bhagavad Gita also says that Vedaischa Sarve Raham Eva Vedya. From all the Vedas, it is Supreme Lord only who is to be known. Now, are you saying that Shruti is wrong? Shruti you have accepted as Parama Pramana. So nobody can say that Shruti is wrong. And the Shruti itself is saying that Shruti can describe the Supreme. So now either the Shruti has to be accepted as true, and we should accept that Shruti is described the Supreme, and the consequence of that is Tattvamasi has to be interpreted in a personal way. Or you use Jahad Lakshanam to understand consciousness. When we understand consciousness, we can say that Brahman cannot be interpreted directly. We should give an indirect understanding. Then we are responsible for contradicting the Shruti, which says that Brahman can clearly be understood through Shruti. So that is how it is a self trap that they are following into. So I will read some of the notes connected with this. Advaitans interpret Tattvamasi using Jahad ajahallakshana, discarding the limiting adjuncts of Tat and Tvam while retaining pure consciousness. Vyasatirtha argues this method is invalid because it lacks spiritual warrant. It arbitrarily manipulates the meanings. It violates the rules of proper lakshana, which should only be used when the direct meaning is impossible or contradictory. So, first thing is there is no Shastra Pramana that we cannot give Lakshana to Brahman. Is there any explicit Shastra Pramana? Okay, Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manasa Saha. Indirectly, you may say that we cannot reach Brahman through our words. That's a different thing. But can the Lakshanas be not given to Brahman? there is no Shastra Pramana to establish that. That is the first point. Second thing is this arbitrary manipulation of meanings that we already discussed, that there are important Shruti Pramanas which gives definition of what the Supreme Lord is. They clearly tell that Vedas do describe the Supreme Lord. So now when it is clearly telling that Veda describes the absolute truth, now you cannot say that no, these are wrong, because Vedas cannot. So then we will be responsible for violating Shruti. And third thing is Lakshana. Now, when they say Brahman cannot be defined. Okay, so first logic we already saw. What was the first logic when we say Brahman cannot be defined?
We are indirectly defining Brahma that it
Yeah,
cannot
that
be
itself
defined.
becomes the definition. So that is the thing. Second thing is, the argument is that direct meaning is not able, we are not able to use to define Brahman, because yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa. Through our words we cannot reach Brahman, so we cannot give direct meaning. So we have to give indirect meaning to prove it. That is why we are using Jahad ajahallakshana. Tattvam we are removing and only keeping consciousness. So the argument is that through direct meaning we are not getting the truth. So for that reason we have to use indirect way to understand it. And in this indirect way we are cutting two words and this. Now Vyasatirtha questions that if direct meaning cannot help us understand, how can indirect meaning help us understand? If you are not able to directly explain about the person, indirectly then I am not directly describing about Brahman. So then I am using an indirect way saying this, that, looks like this. No? How can that also be used? Because Brahman is not reachable through words. No? So how can we reach through this also? So in this way, playing with logic, we understand the futility of this Jahad ajahallakshana. Are these clear? Any these logics, are they clear, or any doubts in this? Is it too confusing? Roshan Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
So they said that indirectly we are defining Brahman, okay?
Hmm.
And directly we cannot define. But this logic is also today directly we cannot define. And then Shruti defines the Brahman as Anantam Jnanam Brahma, the thing you told in the earlier classes. So can we understand it like that we are just doing arthapati, that we say lotus feet, so because the lotus is the most beautiful thing that we have seen on earth, so we say that Lord's feet are like the lotus, but still we cannot perceive Lord's feet.
Hmm.
So is it this type of understanding?
So then how you connect with Satyam Manana Antam Brahma? What you said is okay, but how you connect with this Brahma definition?
I am saying that Satyam Jnanam means it is still we cannot
Still we
conceive
have
still.
not reached Brahman correctly, completely. That is what you are saying.
Hmm.
Okay, just like lotus feet means it may be something better than lotus, but just something has to be defined. So we are doing this. Okay. But that contradicts the Shastric statement that Vedescha Sarve Raham Eva Vedya. From all the Vedas, the Parabrahma is to be known, absolute truth is to be known. So the absolute truth is no, yes, it may not be with one sentence, but there are multiple sentences Vedas, and studying all that, definitely it's possible to get a knowledge of the absolute truth. It's not that he's indescribable, and so we have to give indirect meaning to explain it. That is wrong.
So you are saying that as a human, we have the capability to understand
No,
Brahman
if we
as a.
repeat Shastras, then it's possible.
Mm, okay.
Okay, that is the point here.
Mm,
Now, if direct meaning of the Shastras is not there, then indirect meaning will be even more complex. It cannot even explain. That is the idea, because your idea is that Brahman cannot be described. So if Brahman cannot be described by direct meaning, it cannot be described by indirect meaning also. That is the logic that Vyasatirtha is putting.
Okay, bro. Understood. Understood.
Any other questions in this regard? Is this confusing? Is this little complex, or it's okay? How about others? Okay. Further, Brahma and Jiva have eternally distinct attributes. Brahma is omniscient, omnipresent, and independent. Jiva is atomic, limited, and dependent. These differences are not illusory due to ignorance, they are ontologically real. Therefore, any attempt to equate them through implication is philosophically incoherent. So, it's quite clearly established about the nature of Jiva, that Jiva is, what is that? Anu Chaitanya. It is atomic consciousness. So, whereas the Supreme Lord is Vibhu Chaitanya, is greatly conscious. So, because the Shruti statements clearly establishes the differences between the two, so they cannot be equated, and the differences are not illusory because they are on the level of the soul itself. So that is the another point that is being put here. Mm, and for that Dwasuparna, we have seen the Shastric arguments also, which say the differences are there. Another point is that if it's all one, if the Lakshana Vritti, what is that, Mukhya Vritti is not required, and if we have to use Jahad, ajahallakshana, we have to cut some things and establish that everything is consciousness. Then if everything is consciousness, then what is the need of Shastra? What is the need of a teacher? What is the need of a student? What is the need of the importance of Guru Shishya? So much everywhere it is mentioned. Even in Shruti, it is mentioned about Guru Shishya Sambandha, Samit Panim Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So who is the teacher? Who is the student when everything is all just consciousness? So all these things become meaningless if Advaita has to be accepted. That is another point that Vyasatirtha puts to refute this. So that should be simple, right?
Hare Krishna, Broji.
Yes, bro.
It is simple. So quality wise we are one, quantity wise we are different. We say that. Then one question I still have means after listening many lectures that why is it achintya bheda bhed? Our Siddhanta is known as achintya.
Mm.
We are simply understanding that quality wise we are one, quantity wise we are different. And what is the thing of achintya here? I have understood
Yes.
everything.
So good point. This is see, Jiva is different from the Lord. That is very clear. Okay. Jiva is the energy of the Lord. That is also clear. Now, when the energy of the Lord is there, Lord is also there at that place. Okay. So that means they are together. They are together performing the same mission. So when they are together performing the same mission, still it is the Jiva who has the decision taking ability, whether he depends on God or does it independently. Correct. Now, when he takes the decision to depend on God or do it independently, after that, everything else is controlled by God. So that becomes achintya as to, although is energy of God only, still how he gets that decision making thing that I should depend on God or I should do it independently. So that is where it becomes, all the energetic are there. So energy should move along with the energetic. All actions should be done by energetic only. Still, how is it that the Jiva also has some ability to decide whether to follow Shastra or not follow Shastra? So that section becomes Achintya.
Okay. So you are saying that independence of the jiva is a kind of a chintya thing.
Independence is, some people get a little unhappy by the word independence. The minute independence Prabhupada called it, or the responsibility of the jiva to follow Shastra or not follow Shastra, the decision making of the jiva to follow Shastra or not follow Shastra, how it is acting in a way that God is not interfering with that. Still, He is the supreme controller. That becomes Achintya.
Oh, okay. So, but we can say that it is God's decision.
How can? Then it's completely, then Jiva has no role. It's like robots.
No, it is God's decision to give jiva some independence.
Yes, then Jiva is acting independent of God. But God is the only independent entity.
The minute independence, but you told.
Yeah, so even minutest independence also will come. That means that those 4 decisions which I take, I am taking independent of God. God may be taking 5,000 decisions. I am taking 4 decisions which are independent of God. But then how can anything be independent of God?
Okay. Now it is achintya. Okay, right.
Yes, so that is Shakti Shaktiman Sambandha. There is a relationship between Shakti and Shaktiman where God is still the controller. But then he cannot be blamed that you forced me to take this, because it is the Jiva who is responsible for that.
Clear,
So
Roji.
there is Devadatta's analogy, which I described to you earlier. We'll read it again. Soyam Devadatta, that this is that Devadatta. Intended meaning, despite change in time and place, the person is the same. So what happens is, once this person Devadatta was met, they met Devadatta in Kashi. He was a small boy. And afterwards, they went back to their home. After some 20-25 years, they went to Kanchi, and there they met Devadatta again. So then he said, so I am Devadatta. He is the same Devadatta who I had met in Kashi. So now he and same, these meanings, these words become irrelevant because it's Devadatta only whom we are speaking about. Correct. Similarly, Tat Tvamasi, in that Tat and Tvam again indicate duality. He and me again indicate duality. So what they say, people say is that he and me should not be used. Tat and Tvam should not be used because they are denoting the same Brahman. So that is why Asi is the only thing. So consciousness alone indicates Brahman, and these are just words as indicators, just like he and same Devadatta, like that. So that is how somehow they are trying to logically address this. But let us see Vastirtha how he refutes that. The analogy presumes identity. It is a recognition, not a metaphysical equation. In Tattvamasi, Jiva and Brahman are not previously known as identical. Their opposite attributes make such recognition impossible. Therefore, the analogy fails to support the Advaitic interpretation. What is the understanding here is that I see Devadatta in Kashi, I see big Devadatta in Kanchi. I will say that he is the same Devadatta. I already know that the two people are same. That is where I am making this statement. So that and this become irrelevant there. I already know. Whereas in this case, Tat Tvam Asi, Jiva and Brahma is one. I still don't know. That proof is still going on. We are putting arguments from both the sides, so the proof is going on. So you cannot apply Jahad ajahallakshana saying that Tat and Tvam have to be removed and it's only pure consciousness Asi that is established. Once you prove that both are equal, then your argument makes sense. That is the first point. Okay. So second thing is that there are enough pramanas to say that between the Jiva and Ishvara, there are opposite gunas. He is Vibhu Chaitanya, he is Anu Chaitanya. So he is all pervading, whereas the soul is not all pervading. So, like that, there are many contrasting qualities between the soul and the super soul. So, how will you accommodate such contrasting qualities? Then you may have to say that forget those contrasting qualities, just focus on consciousness. So, but then you cannot just focus on consciousness, then what is that, forgetting such contrasting qualities, because then what happens is that the Shruti itself becomes irrelevant. Shruti which speaks about contrasting qualities becomes irrelevant. So, this analogy actually fails to support Advaitic interpretation. So all the Mahavakyas, there are many Mahavakyas, there are many important what is that, words from the Shastras which Shankaracharya has identified as Mahavakyas, like Tattvamasi, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, and then what is that? Uh, s- uh, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Like that, there are some more things. So these are called Mahavakyas. But all these Mahavakyas indicates Adrisha, similarity. None of them actually indicates that both of them are same or merged. So that is the understanding. If we have this understanding, then we can explain all the Shrutis in Samanvaya. Tattu Samanvayat. We have to do Samanvaya, and we have to explain it in such a way that we accept all the Shrutis as Pramana. So that is possible only if we explain it this way. This is what the author is saying here. Okay, I will read one question that is there here. Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandatnam, I have one question. I think Jiva is not even qualitatively equal to God. It is only Shakti of the Lord. In that sense of in that sense, identity is there. Reason in Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, qualities of Jiva is 50 in numbers. Narayan is having 60 qualities, 10 extra, and Krishna is having 64 qualities. So Jiva is qualitatively equal in some qualities only. The idea is that when we say qualitatively equal, it is eternal. Satchit Ananda. It is eternal. It is full of knowledge, just that it is covered by ignorance. But actually, Jiva itself is pure and has quality. So that way it is equal. It is not about number of qualities. Even if they say these 50 qualities which Jiva and Ishvara have, Jiva has the 50 qualities in small quantity, whereas the Ishvara has the same 50 qualities in bigger. So even if these 50 we see, there also there is a difference between them. Ishvara has much more than ours. So Jiva can never be equal, but at least it is conscious and it is not like Jada, dead matter. It is conscious and it is eternal. So in that sense, it is considered qualitatively equal. Is that okay, Prabhu? Sudhanshu Prabhu? Okay. Any other questions? Any other points to add here? Was this too difficult or is okay? Understandable? What do you
The
all feel?
initial parts of the lectures were not understandable, but now it is understandable.
Mhm. Anything which I should go into once again? There are some Shrutis which indicate oneness, some Shrutis indicate difference. So that oneness and difference has to be understood in the context of they are having one message. Altogether, they are having one mission. It's not that they merge into one. Just like all Indians are one, means we are united for one common cause. We don't merge into. So similarly, Ishvara and Jiva are united for one common cause. That is the understanding we have. Anything else? Mohan Radha?
I heard one lecture of Srila Prabhupada, where in the last sections, a person asked, "How are you coming here in West and preaching about God? How can you describe God by your own words?"
Hmm.
So Prabhupada answered that I can describe God if I just repeat the words of God, because God describes himself in the Bhagavad Gita.
Correct.
So that,
That is the point. So if Shastra Vakya is repeated, we can understand God.
Hmm.
Hmm. Mohan Radhapati Prabhu.
Understood till now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dharmeshwara Prabhu, everything is clear. Guru Bhakta Prabhu, hope everything is clear.
Yeah, Prabhu, yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Sudhanshu Prabhu, this might be your first class. I hope everything is clear. So, okay then. So, tomorrow there will be some more complex topics before we wind up this whole section on Jiva and get to Prakriti. So, there is something called theory of reflection, then the theory of superimposition, and all these things, different points, and non-duality. So, all these things we will discuss tomorrow before we wind up this section. Let us see, we might possibly finish tomorrow, otherwise next week. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva jitanam pavam. Yes.
So I had a question from previous session.
Yes, sir.
So you're telling the story of Jabala, who heard from different gurus and then he went to confirm from his own guru. So, means this like confirmation, it refers to from which guru? Like we hear from different gurus, different Siksha gurus will be there. So does it refer to Diksha guru or some that
Yeah,
kind
you
of
see,
guru?
Gautama was his Diksha Guru. Uh, and he heard from others. He did not go to confirm actually. He reheard it from him so that he will get the full benefit of hearing. So he reheard it from him with the idea that he will get complete benefit of the Shravana Vidhi for purification. So now in this present age, it is at the time Jabala was in Gurukula and he was with the Guru all the time or for a fixed period when he was in Gurukula. He had few disciples. Now in big societies like Krishna conscious movement, of course, it's the Diksha Guru who plays an important role for our purification, and we must make sure that we hear from Diksha Guru. But everything that we hear, we may not get an opportunity to reconfirm from the Diksha Guru or tell him that this is what I heard. That opportunity may not come. However, the practice of hearing whenever there is an opportunity from the spiritual master is required. At the same time, from other Shiksha Gurus also we can hear. So that is the understanding.
Mm. Okay, okay, okay.
Prabhuji,
Hmm.
can you share this exact Word document that you have opened here?
Okay, this thing I will share. These are my notes. I will share it.
So also the slokas which used to share in different prameyas like Ishvara and then the Jiva, the slokas in the notes, the slokas don't come. So
Oh, they are not there, is it? Okay, okay, fine. Yes, probably I will share.
Prabhuji, in which Kirana we are in right now? Because I don't have the book right now. I have just ordered
Yes. So we
from
have
the.
finished Pramana's first Kirana.
Hmm.
We have finished Ishvara second Kirana. Third Kirana is about to get over about Jivas.
Hmm.
Then there will be three more, Prakriti, Kala and Karma. They will be relatively smaller than this.
Okay.
Okay, then Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Devcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna.
Hare